Hello bike fans, welcome back. It's part 2 of James builds Tom's son's birthday bicycle. We put the bike together apart from the saddle and the pedals. The first thing I want to do is adjust the front brake because it's actually slightly tight and all the adjustment has gone from the barrel adjuster down here on the caliper. So I'm going to have to remove or slacken the cable clamp and allow a little bit of play in that, and then we will adjust it back to perfection. Let's undo the clamp. Yes, there's plenty of movement. The brake is actually coming on about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself some adjustment room in the barrel adjuster here. So this barrel adjuster, very similar to the sort of thing you would have on old-fashioned caliper brakes, would normally be screwed fully home when the bike and the pads are new, as it is here, because then as the pads wear down, you can keep unscrewing it a bit to keep the clearance the same so you don't get too much movement up at the lever. But what I'm going to do is put it about halfway so that I can adjust it in both directions, and then here's a tool you almost certainly haven't got at home unless you're a really pervy bike mechanic like me. Let's see if I can do this in such a way that you can see it. It will pull on the cable and lock itself in position like that, so I can set, see that is on, so if I slacken it off by a couple of teeth, wheel is almost moving, how about there, so the wheel is just starting to move, and then I can use the standard Allen key with my shaky weightlifter's right arm, tighten the clamp, get rid of that. That's about 10 Newton meters. It's just rubbing, but because I put the adjuster in the middle, I can now give myself a bit of slack, and the bike stand is still giving me grief because it's a little bit pony-assed. No, we've made a terrible mistake. Have we? How else could I have done that? I think that cable would be better off going that side. Given that this is going to be ridden by a young lad who's going to do stunts and bunny hops and fall off it, with the steering turned to the extremes, that cable is actually taut and pulling, and actually it's going to even rub on the tyre in that position, look. So you don't want that, that's very bad. I would route that in front of the stem. Let's put the saddle on. Obviously not a particularly difficult job. It's got a little bit of grease on it, which is good. How big is Charlie?
He's 5'5".
Obviously there's a bit of adjustment for you to do when you get that home. Pedals. Left-hand pedal has a left-hand thread. Worth remembering, you'll spend your whole life trying to tighten it up the conventional way and you will not do it. Right-hand pedal, I'm going to tighten that up in a minute obviously. Right-hand pedal has a right-hand thread. Quite easy to remember, isn't it? Right is right and left is left. They've got a nice little blob of copper grease or something on them as well on the threads, which is a very good idea because one day you'll want to take them off and put some different pedals on, and if you haven't greased the threads, they will have rusted slightly and you will bend the bike. Where's my special pedal spanner? No, I'll have to use a spanner and not that one. What a complete amateur. Going to get some new children's TV presenter glasses.
James, what's your take on the whole newfangled cycle paths for everybody in London and elsewhere in the country?
Cycle paths, I'm in two minds about them. I like them. I think it's another example of something that's ideal for the more timorous cyclist. I don't think really experienced roadies and the like want cycle paths, because they slow them down, because they're full of people not going very quickly, because they're not very confident riding their bikes. I'm a little bit cavalier about it. I use them if they're empty, and I'm very grateful for them, especially the ones in London, which are sort of bollarded off so nobody can get to you. But if things are a bit busy, I just go outside them and go on the road. And then that annoys car drivers and taxi drivers because they say, well, you should be in the bicycle lane. And yeah, they're probably right, but you know, suck it up, buddy. Right, the pedals are on, the saddle is on. I think we're ready for final adjustments. There's a few things I'd like to point out. We've got that front brake. I would say that the steering is a little bit tight. Now, the the test of this really is I'm going to have to take the bike off the stand to show you what I mean. This is not just true of new bikes, this is true of your own bike. When you have it on the deck, you put the front brake on, you shouldn't be able to feel any movement there or there. Okay? But at the same time, you don't want it so tight that it doesn't fall side to side immediately, and that is just very slightly on the tight side. And if this was feel-o vision, which we will have one day, you'd be able to feel, as I can, when you have your hand on the end of the bars and the wheel lifted off the floor, there's just a slight grumbliness to the bearings, almost as if there's little facets on the ball. So it's fractionally too tight. And when I say fractionally, it's going to be about probably a 1/10 or an 1/8 of a turn on that screw there. I'll show you what I mean. This bike has a side stand, which is a curious idea. Sarah's bike has a stand and she likes that. In fact, my old green, that one over there, the old Dord, also has a side stand. I can't believe a teenager would ever use that. I can't believe a teenager would waste that much of their young life doing that to stand it up. You will simply get off the bike and whilst it's still moving, release it onto the pavement or the grass verge. That's what childhood is about.
I think we take it off, you know.
Do you want to take it off?
Yeah.
But won't he say, where's my side stand?
He doesn't know.
Well, he'll see the bracket. I think it looks quite cool on the stand. It makes it more like a motorcycle. What, do you think everybody will just say, Charlie, you big pansy, get rid of that side stand? Slacken the stem bolts, don't take them out entirely. They weren't actually very tight anyway. I would say those should be about, turn that the right way, that is a good idea. I would say those would probably be about 7 or 8 Newton meters. Torque wrench ready, 4 millimeters, righty-tighty. There you go. That little grumble has disappeared, and that really was about a 1/10 of a turn. There you are. You still don't have feel-o vision, but I can assure you that now feels absolutely gorgeous. Brake works, that will bed it. You think we should take the side stand off?
Should we just leave it on and then he can decide what he wants to do with it?
He can decide. I mean, it's a 2-minute job to get rid of that. Okay, I think we should put the bike back on the stand, and then we can have a bit of a fiddle around with the gear change. What do you think? So I already know that the pedals aren't clearing the stand, so let's put it out to about there, and let's do this up properly this time. And I'm going to say join me in the next instalment of James builds Tom's son's birthday bicycle, and we will do final adjustments, brakes, gears, pump the tyres up. Tom can take it for a test ride around the bunker. Like, comment, subscribe. See you then. Goodbye.